Collective consciousness. We are not disconnected and separate islands as we think. Maybe in the physical layer we all seem like individual islands, but whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we want it or not, we all are interlinked by the collective consciousness. It is like this: if the food is poisoned, only the person who eats it will suffer, not everyone. In this sense, you can think of yourself as an individual, but as you move towards the subtle level of existence, you can see our interconnectedness more clearly. For example, if the air is poisoned, whoever is breathing it will suffer even if they are a long distance from each other. This connection is at the breath level, which means that the subtler energy layers, the distance between us is reduced. Even more than the physical and breath levels, we are connected more closely at the mental level. When I say mental level, I mean the level of thoughts. Our thoughts affect not only us, but also everyone around us and beyond. Even thoughts are more infectious than your cold. In fact, people may escape from your cold, but they cannot escape from your thoughts. If an individual's mind is polluted, not only the individual, but a much bigger group suffers. For example, if a person who has disturbed mind sits with the leader of the city, the whole city will be affected by the decision that he makes. His disturbed thinking will result in wrong decisions and hence will be harmful for the whole city. Going a step further, if one corrupted visualization leads to a particular action, the action can have tremendous impact on a huge population. Not just on that person with the corruption. For example, take the case of an atom bomb. It is nothing but a visualization of the nuclear theory. The basics of the nuclear bomb can be found in the famous formula E equals to mc square. That was discovered by physicist Albert Einstein, but corrupted visualization of this formula led to the disturbance of the whole planet Earth. We are all now threatened by this one theory. By the invention today, the planet Earth has enough atomic weapons to burn itself 700 times over and over again. Just visualize 7 circles at one place. I shall try to explain the truth now. These 7 circles represent the 7 energy layers in us. The first layer is the physical body, the body that you can feel as your hands, legs, etc. The second layer is the pranic body, the body in which your prana or life energy or breath circulates. Like this, there are 7 energy layers that make up the total body, with the physical body being just one of those layers. Now in the physical layer, you, God and I can be represented as 3 different points in the circle. In the physical level, the distance between us is great. If you go inward a little to the pranic level, the distance between us is reduced. If you go deeper to the mental level, the distances are further reduced. When you go deeper and deeper, it finally merges into one. You can see that at the innermost point of all these layers, God, you and I are one. There is no distance. That is the truth, even at the gross level. It is only your perception that causes you to think that you are a separate entity. Once you become aware and realize that you are a part of collective consciousness, that you don't have an individual identity, that you don't have a separate ego, you don't suffer. Coincidence of thought. If you have observed a school of fish swimming or a flock of birds flying together, you will see a fleeting synchronity in their motion. There may be hundreds of birds flying together in a V-shaped formation, but when they have to change direction, they will all do at the same time with no confusion or time delay. Scientists have been trying to understand how this is possible. Even studies of insects and animals have shown that when faced with threats, their responses are so fast that they cannot be explained by normal methods of communication. An interesting experiment that was done to study the power of thought on dogs. The dog's owner were asked to leave the house with no intention of going to any particular place. After leaving the house, they were given instruction to specific places, and then at random times they were asked to come back. It was found that at the time the owner started back home, almost always the same time the dog would go to the door and wait for the owner. In the huge tsunami that rocked the Andaman and Nicobar Islands of India, it was found that tsunami hit the islands. All the animals, including the huge ones like elephants, had all moved to the higher grounds, safely away from the ocean. There have been a number of accounts of animals and insects being aware of upcoming earthquakes minutes before earthquake actually strikes. What is the difference between these animals and us? It is their connection with nature. Being in tune with the nature enables them to sense nature signals. In case of humans, because of our false sense of identity and ego, we have lost the touch with nature and have become insensitive to the direct signals of nature. Tuning into the higher intelligence. You can see so many instances in history where the same discovery was made at about the same time by people in different parts of the globe, by people who did not even know each other. The reason is that ideas are floating in collective consciousness. It is like this: there are hundreds of electromagnetic waves in air, but your television set picks up only the waves of frequency to which it is tuned. Similarly, the mind that are ready and waiting for the floating ideas will tune in and convert that potentiality into reality. Just as the universe gives so many hints of its existence, as one being we can find hints from nature about the nature of reality. In a series of experiments in 1920s, it was found that no matter what portion of rat's brain was removed, a rat still retains its memory of how to perform complex tasks it had learned prior to the surgery. That rat's brain actually showed holographic memory. Scientists propose that memories are encoded not in neurons but in the pattern of nerve impulses that crisscross the brain, similarly to how a hologram is formed by various patterns of laser light crisscrossing each other. This might explain how human brain can store up to 10 billion bits of information in the brain, which is size of 2 small fits. The universe is a hologram and we are a part of that hologram. In a hologram, every single part of the hologram, even if splits, reflects the totality of the hologram. Likewise, we reflect the totality of the universe. The universe is not an assortment of living and dead matter. It is a huge interconnected whole. You are very much connected to your fellow beings around you and the trees, animals, birds and rocks on earth, as well as the planets, stars and galaxies in the universe. Whether you perceive it or not depends on the plane of consciousness from which you perceive it all. When we realize our role in the existence scheme of things, we can no longer feel separate from all those around us. So we can only feel separated when we feel unconscious of our role. When we are unaware, the time has come to create a critical mass of enlightened people on planet Earth. Only by creating more and more people who are awakened, who are enlightened, can the collective influence of individual negativity be destroyed. All calamities around the world are created only by unconscious human beings. Global warming, HIV, religious terrorism, fanaticism and piles of atomic weapons are all because of this negativity. Today we are facing so many dangers that unless we create a peaceful, blissful joy and an enlightened society, we will not be able to preserve this beautiful planet. My mission is to create a beautiful, joyful, blissful, conscious, enlightened society. Thank you for joining us. Namaskar.